Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We are here with another ChaseBays product install. We are going to be installing the dual piston brake booster elite and the line kit associated with that on an E36. I did film this while doing the full build out of my E36 M3, so I do look a little bit tired in the videos as well, so just bear with me with that. But all the information's there. We'll guide you through this process and make sure that you get your kit installed appropriately and easily. ChaseBays also has come out with some rad new Nabori flags, so go ahead and go grab yourself one of those. They're pretty awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Here's that install video.
Okay, so to pull out all the stuff to do your brake booster elite, you're going to also pull out the ABS unit, which is this guy down here. This is your brake booster and your brake master cylinder. So you're going to want to undo these lines down here. These are all 11 millimeter. You will want to use a wrench to take those off. Take your time. Sometimes they like to strip out and cause you more headache than it's good. If it feels like it's starting to strip out, try to get onto a different side of the nut and see if that is able to get you to get it off. So you'll just want to undo those lines. This 13 millimeter on the front here, you'll undo that. That'll allow the ABS unit to be free from its mounts. You'll want to drain the brake fluid as best as you can, and or put some rags down underneath here when you're taking these things apart, so the brake fluid doesn't get all over your paint and ruin your cool paint job. So we're going to start by, first we're going to get the fluid out of here. We'll get the this ASC part component out of the way. It is a 10 millimeter. For those, we're just going to move it just so it's out of our way. And then we'll get this master cylinder off of here via these 13s that hold it in. We'll take those off. And then we'll pull the ABS unit out of the car, and then we'll move into the inside of the vehicle. Okay, so we got all the lines undone. We got this mount off here. You can see this is loose. Gotta make sure you pull this electrical connector here. You'll want to undo this either off the intake or try to pull it out of that. You can tell it's kind of in there, so whatever's easiest for you. I'm gonna pull this master cylinder out of here. You can go ahead and send this guy to its proper home. And then we have another line that's going to be trash. We do have this connector here. It's just going to spin. There we go.
It's old.
You can undo that. Then we can get
Just kidding.
this guy and go ahead and send that to its new home. Now that we have everything out of here, we need to go inside the car and we need to unbolt the brake booster and undo the clevis that's in there so that we can install the brake booster delete. All right, so the next step here is you're gonna wanna get that brake booster out of the car. There's gonna be 4 bolts under the dash that you're gonna wanna get, or 4 nuts, I should say. You're gonna pull your under dash panel off. There's like 4 Phillips that hold that on. You'll take those off and that'll give you access to the pedals. Once you get to access to the pedals, you're gonna undo the clevis pin that holds the brake booster rod to the pedal. It's kind of like a little clip. You just lift the one side and then slide the clip off and then push the pin out. There is a spring there, so you'll probably want to take that spring off before you actually take that pin out. After that, you'll undo those 4 bolts, and then you can come back around to the front and pull the booster out. So these are the 4 bolts you'll see inside the car, and then there's a pin that goes through this. They'll undo, pull that off. That way you can pull this out through the front. Once you get it out, this is what you should be looking at.
Okay, so we're actually doing a manual conversion on my car, so it's going to be a lot easier to show you how to install the brake booster delete pedal adapter. This is the adapter here. So you're going to take off the clevis that's on the brake pedal originally. You'll install the stud side into the original hole, and then you'll have the pin up here to put the clevis for the brake booster delete on there. On the E36 and 46, you'll have this little angled bracket. This is going to be for your brake switch. So just make sure you get that on the bottom, on this side, so that it actuates this switch for the brake lights. That's going to be that part. I opted to put this on, obviously outside of the car, so that way I can just slide this on and then put the pin in, and then we'll have booster delete here. And I'll show you what that looks like in the car.
Alright, so once you have it in the car, you're going to need to shorten the clevis rod and the locking nut for the clevis rod. So you shorten that pretty much to where you have, I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of the locking nut left, and then you'll probably cut off about 1/2 inch off the actual rod itself. Once you get that in there, then you can put it up under the dash and then slide it onto the pedal adapter in between the master cylinder as well. You don't want to get rid of the old lines. So the one that runs over to the passenger side, you're going to get rid of the hard line because it comes with a new line. So this forward line here, you can see runs back here. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it on the passenger side and then pull it through, since it runs back behind the engine. Whatever works easiest for you, just get rid of it and get it out of your way, because you have a new line, you're going to want to run for it. So for this part, you're going to need an 11mm wrench. You're going to undo these lines here in the fender well. Just undo those, make sure you have something to catch the fluid. You don't want to get a bunch of brake fluid all over the place.
So just want to go over the lines on this. This is for the dual piston brake booster delete. This long line with the ChaseBays logo on it is going to go to the right front brake from the brake booster delete. This medium sized line is going to go from the brake booster delete to the left front of the vehicle. And then this small guy with the F fitting is going to go from the brake booster delete to the 2 rear hard lines that are in the, like, by the frame rail. So I'll get those all hooked up, and then I'll show you what that looks like.
Okay, so just going to run over the lines here. This line here is going to go from the L facing towards the back to the right front of the vehicle. The one pointing downward is going to go to the left front of the vehicle. On both sides, you'll see a grommet like that. That is where the factory hard line used to go through. So now the new line is going to go through that same hole and down into the fender wells and connect to the fender well brake lines. For the rear line, you have the out off the bias valve, coming down to the F fitting, and then you will have the two hard lines that run to the back of the car go into the F fitting. There is an option on the website for the older models. The pre-95 models came with one single rear hard line. If you have that, then you will not have this F fitting. You will have an adapter that connects to that one single hard line. And that's your line layout. The last step of this install process is going to be bleeding the system. So what you're going to do is fill that brake fluid reservoir up with fluid. And then the best way to bleed this system, and at times can be very difficult to get bled out, but essentially what you need to do is fill it up, get another person in the car. They're going to pump the brakes, and then you will open, while they're holding the brake pedal down, you will open the bleeder screw and then close it. They will pump the brakes, hold it, open the bleeder screw, close it. You'll do that a number of times. You'll start at the right rear of the vehicle, and then you'll move to the left rear, to the right front, to the left front. Essentially, you're starting the furthest away from the master cylinder and moving yourself closer to the master cylinder along the way. You will probably have to repeat this process maybe 2 to 3 times to make sure you get all of the air out. Once you have all of the air out, you should have pretty solid pedal pressure. Once you do that, you will need to go drive the car. If you have new brakes on the car, those brakes will need to be seated. So make sure you get those seated properly. If you're just doing this and you're running the same brake pads that you had before, you'll notice that the pedal is obviously a bit stiffer, but it takes less leg effort to lock up the brakes. So just get used to the pedal feel. It is going to be different than the factory brake boosted brakes, but you will have more reliable and more consistent braking than you ever had before with the brake booster. So enjoy your new brake boosted Elite, and thank you for watching.